Good morning to the attendees of this webinar. I was assigned to discuss to you today about the research management guidelines, the legal basis, the roles of the research committees, the research management cycles, and the fund sources for research initiatives. To start with, let me ask you these questions. Why do we need to know the guidelines in research management? Do we have to really know about these guidelines? If you are planning to conduct a research, it is very important that you know the different research management guidelines. So research management guidelines provide us with a legal basis, the scope, the research committees, and the fund sources. So this also guide the researchers in managing the research initiatives in the national, regional, schools division, and school levels. So here are the legal basis and the rationale of action research writing. So for our first policy, we have DepEd Order number 43, series of 2015, and DepEd Order number 4, series of 2016. So the rationale set guidelines on the use of basic education research fund, or what we call as the BERF. So the BERF provide financial support to the conduct of research in managing of research initiatives in the national, regional, schools division, and school level. So DepEd Order number 39, series of 2016, or the Basic Education Research Agenda. So this rationale focus on the research priorities of the Department of Education. So this is our second legal base in making the action research writing. So it is stated in this policy that the research priorities of the department are teaching and learning, child protection, human resource development, and governance. So these four topics, as stated in the BERA, should be prioritized in making a research. So let us proceed to the third policy. So the third policy in making an action research is DepEd Order number 16, series of 2017, or the Research Management Guidelines. So this continues to advocate evidence-based decision-making in its various educational reforms and initiatives across the whole department. So DepEd Order number 16, or this policy, promote an environment of evidence-based decision-making. So this policy organized a systematic policy development process in the department. So DepEd has made a stand in introducing research and its utilization in policy and progress development. So through research, our educational system will be improved and will be developed. So the conduct of research in our department will help us to create innovations and interventions. So for our last policy, we have Division Memorandum number 104, series of 2002, or the STO Caloocan Research Management Policy and Guidelines. So this provides the guiding principles in the organization and implementation of research management policies and guidelines, and in strengthening research practices in the Division of Caloocan. So this division memorandum provides us with a technique or a method specially made in the Division of Caloocan. So from this, we can conduct a school-based research and a division-based research. So school-based research, so the scope of which is limited only to a single school or classes within a school. So if you are making a school-based research, the scope is only a single school or a single class within a school. So next is the division-based research. So the scope is 2 or more districts or clusters within the division. So let us proceed to the different research committees. So research committees provide guidance on research directions, particularly in aligning initiatives with the national and local basic education research agenda. So for the School Research Committee, or the SRC, there are 3 components. So the School Research Committee is composed of the chairperson. So the chairperson is the principal or the school head. And the next component of the School Research Committee is the vice chairperson. So the vice chairperson is the designated school coordinator with, of course, basic training on the conduct of research and research management. And the last, there should be 2 members. So the master teachers or the head teachers. So the master teacher or the head teachers act as content evaluators within their respective learning areas. So if the math teachers is the one doing the research or conducting a research, of course, the master teachers that will be involved or the head teachers that will be involved is from the mathematics department also. So the next member of the School Research Committee are the 2 competent teachers. So 2 competent teachers with basic training on the conduct of research and research management. Okay, so again, School Research Committee is composed of the chairperson, vice chairperson, and the members. Okay, so what are the roles of the School Research Committee? So the School Research Committee is composed of 7 roles. Okay, so the first one is they provide directions on the research initiatives by the National Basic Education Research Agenda and other identified research areas within the division or school level. Okay, so the second role of the School Research Committee is to evaluate and to endorse to the District Cluster Research Committee school-based and division-based research proposals and other research initiatives within the school to be funded by WRF or other fund sources. Okay, so the third responsibility or the third role of the School Research Committee is to endorse completed school-based researches to the District Cluster Committee for evaluation. So if the researcher is finished with his research, the School Research Committee will endorse the completed school-based research to the district or to the cluster committee for evaluation. And then the School Research Committee are the ones also to submit reports to the division on all research initiatives conducted in the school from all funding sources. So another responsibility of School Research Committee is that they provide technical assistance to the researchers within their respective schools in the conduct of research. So the School Research Committee help the researchers within their respective schools when they are conducting a research. Okay, and then we have They are the one who monitor research initiatives within the school. So the school research committee periodically monitors research initiatives within the school. And then one of the responsibilities also of the school research committee is that they ensure that all cost estimates fall under the existing accounting and auditing rules and regulations. Okay, so those are the different responsibilities and roles of the school research committee. So let us proceed to the district or the cluster's research committee. So the district or the cluster research committee is composed of 2 members only. Okay, so we have the chairperson. So the chairperson is the district or the cluster principal consultant. And for the members are the principals within the district or cluster. So those are the components of the district committee or the district research committee. Again, the chairperson, which is the district or the cluster principal consultant, and then the members are the principals within the district or cluster where the research is being conducted. So here are the responsibilities of the district research committee. So the district research committee ensure that submitted research proposal and manuscript conforms to the ethical standards set by the RMT. So they are the one to check or to evaluate whether the submitted research proposal and the manuscript is following the ethical standards set by the research management guidelines. Okay? So another role of the district or the research committee is, again, they provide technical assistance to the teacher researchers. And the third, they resolve emerging issues in the management in the conduct of research. For example, during the conduct of research, there will be conflict. The district committee will be the one to resolve that conflict. Next, the last role of the district committee, they are the ones who endorse, evaluated, and approve research proposal and manuscript to the district cluster level of the division. So after the research proposal was evaluated and was approved, the district or the cluster research committee will be the one to endorse the proposal to the cluster level of the division. So let us proceed to the Schools Division Research Committee. So the Schools Division Research Committee will assume the responsibilities of research management at the schools division level. So here are the components of the Schools Division Research Committee. So the first one is the advisor. So the advisor in the Schools Research Committee or Schools Division Research Committee is the Schools Division Superintendent. So in Caloocan, we have Dr. Narisa L. Losaria, Sasafay. So another component of the Schools Division Research Committee are the chairpersons. So the chairpersons are the OIC of the Office of the Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Dr. Justado S. Medina, and Ms. Flordaliza D. Pereira, the Assistant Schools Division Superintendent. So the next component of SDRC are the co-chairpersons. We have Dr. Ivy C. Perez and Dr. Jocelyn M. Alina. And for the member, we have Dr. Ariel P. Villor, the Education Program Supervisor. And for the Secretariat, we have CID representatives. And we have also the Administrative Officer 5. Then we have the research editors, which are under the Schools Governance and Operations Division, or the SGOT. So those are the components of the Schools Division Research Committee. So let us proceed to the research management cycle. So the research management cycle is composed of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 steps. Okay, so the first step in the research management cycle is the call for research proposals. So the Schools Division Research Committee will be the one to spearhead the periodic call for research proposals in their respective areas at least once a year. The SGRC, in coordination with the DRC, will assist in wide dissemination of the call for proposals in schools. So proponents will be given 1 month after the posting of call for proposals to submit the intended study. So the research proposal will be submitted in either hard or electronic copies to the research committees. So the second step in the research management cycle is the evaluation of proposals. So there will be initial screening. So the respective SDRC will conduct initial screening of submitted proposals. So the proposals with the following conditions will not be evaluated. So if the proposal of the researcher is incomplete in documents, the proposal will not be evaluated. So another condition is that if the proposals, or if the researcher's proposal does not conform to research ethics, the proposal again will not be evaluated. So another condition is if the proposal is exceeding the maximum amount of research grant, it will not be evaluated. So another reason for not evaluating the proposal is the non-alignment of research topic with the national, local, basic education research agenda. Okay, so let us proceed to the third cycle of the research management. So the third cycle of the research management is the notification of results. Once the research committee has evaluated the proposal, the secretariat will send a notification letter of the results to the proponent. So for approved proposals, the secretariat will conduct an orientation to brief the proponents on the requirements, on the roles, and the responsibilities of both the committees and the researchers. For these approved proposals, proponents are encouraged to resubmit their proposals for considerations once they combine or incorporate the comments from the previous evaluation. Okay, so for the third step, we have the progress monitoring. So the secretariat shall track the progress of all approved research tests based on the approved work plan and provide technical assistance as needed. So school heads will be the one to track the progress of the approved research tests and their respective schools. And then let us proceed to technical assistance, which is the fifth step in research management. So technical assistance will be provided by the research managers to the researchers. The next is the provision and change and extension. So the request for changes in the research. So if you are going to request for the change in your research, you should immediately communicate to the research committee. And for modification on the research design with the same research topic, the researcher must write a letter to the relevant research committee detailing the changes made. So the approved research topic cannot be changed by the researcher at any point during the study. So once the research was approved, the topic cannot be changed by the researcher during his or her study. And if you are going to request for extension, you will have to submit a letter of request for extension with justification, and which will be submitted to the chairperson of the relevant research committee. So the researcher will be allowed only one request for extension. So the duration of the extension will be assessed and decided by the research committee. So granted extension should not exceed for 1 year. So if you will be allowed to extend your research, provided that you should finish it for a maximum of 1 year. And then after that is the submission and acceptance. So completed research must be submitted to the research committee. The secretariat will conduct technical evaluation to determine the acceptability of your output. For final approved outputs, it will be submitted in soft PDF copy and hard copies to the committee secretariat. Then we have dissemination and utilization. So with full support of school heads, teachers will be allowed to disseminate and utilize the research through LAC sessions, through in-service trainings, and through enhanced school improvement plan. And the last cycle for our research management is the monitoring and evaluation. So the school's governance and operations division shall conduct and monitor the evaluation of the entire research management cycle within their respective areas in order to continuously improve the management of research. And my last topic will be about the fund sources. Our fund sources for research could be the Basic Education Research Fund, or the BERF, and other fund sources, which include the local funds and the Special Education Fund, the SEF, DBM, and DILT. So who are eligible for this fund sources? Who are eligible to apply for this fund sources? So proponents who are regular or permanent teaching or non-teaching personnel of the Department of Education. So if you are a permanent teacher or non-teaching personnel of the department, you are eligible to apply for that fund source. Okay, next, proponents have no pending administrative case. So you are eligible to apply for that fund if you have no pending or administrative case. Okay, that's right. Proponents have not yet availed of the grant for the given year. And there is a maximum of 3 research team members for group proposals. If your research team is composed of 2 members only, you are not eligible to apply for that fund. The scope and allocation of research proposals. Okay, so let us proceed to the scope and allocation of research proposals. If your research proposal is division-based, which means that the research is division-wide or covering at least 2 schools, you will be granted not more than 150,000 per research. And the duration of your research should be 1 year. Cool? So if your research is school-based or community learning centers-based, your action research is classroom-based or school-wide in scope. So you will be given 30,000 for research, and you should finish your research for a maximum of 2 months or 6 months. So for the release and liquidation of funds. So birth is output-based. So the release and liquidation of funds are dependent on the submission and acceptance of the grantee's documentary attachments. So we have here, if your research is division-based, there will be 3 tranches. So the first tranche is the mobilization fund. So you will be given, the grantee will be given 40% of the amount approved, amount allotted to his research. So the documentary attachment needed or inception report or work plan, data collection instruments, certificate of acceptance for the deliverables, and copy of MOA. So that is for the first tranche. For the second tranche, you will be given 40% of the approved amount if you are going to deliver the documentary attachments. So these are the data collection activities, data analysis, initial findings, the certificate of acceptance for the deliverables, and the copy of MOA. And for the last tranche, the grantee will be given 20% of the approved amount if he will be able to give this documentary attachments. So the final report, certificate of acceptance from the national or regional research committees, and the copy of MOA. So for schools, the schools are the community learning centers research. So we have the first and the last tranche. So for the first tranche, the grantee will be given 80% of the approved amount if he will be able to give this documentary attachments to the work plan, certificate of acceptance for the deliverables, and the copy of MOA. And for the last tranche, the grantee will be given 20% of the approved amount if he will be able to give this documentary attachments. So the final report, certificate of acceptance from the national or regional research committee, and of course, the copy of MOA. Okay. So here are my references. Okay, thank you.